Here's how every Western Conference team could win an NBA championship. Like we did with the Eastern Conference, we are suspending disbelief. So no matter how far-fetched, how unbelievable the scenario has to be for your favorite team to win a title and raise a banner into the rafters, that is what we're going to find today. Like, subscribe, and let's go. We're going to start in the Northwest Division with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards takes a leap to legitimate MVP contender. And also, Julius Randle has a three-point resurgence and comes back as an All-NBA player. Rudy Gobert is still Defensive Player of the Year. Dante DiVincenzo provides the shooting they desperately needed last year, and Mike Conley continues to spit in the face of Father Time. Which sounds disgusting. Seriously, don't ever spit in somebody's face. It's gross. But not as gross as this team will be if they get all of those things to happen at the same time. They stalled out in the conference finals last year in large part because their offense went through periods where the only option was Ant looking like Michael Jordan reincarnated. The combo of Randle and DiVincenzo could pack more firepower than just Cat alone, at least in the sense of having more options. And if the defense stays one of the best in the league, it's not that hard to imagine this team getting over the hump. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, they get growth from their youth, and their new additions fill the only holes that they had. This seems like the most cookie-cutter answer, ever. How can OKC win a title? Well, get better. Duh. But that's basically what it is. This team was already the 1 seed last year. They just traded for Alex Caruso, who at 30 years old is their oldest player on the roster. They're super young. They have a ton of growth potential in almost every single one of their key players. The only guy who might have reached his ceiling at this point within the young core is SGA, and he was an MVP candidate last year. If that's the ceiling, it's plenty high enough to lead this team for the next several years. J-Dub and Chet have very realistic opportunities to improve and become all-star level caliber players. And Caruso is the perfect fit for what they want to do and the way that they try to play. Not to mention Isaiah Hartenstein shores up the one real weakness that they had, which was on the boards. A title is not a far-fetched outcome for this group, even as soon as next season. For the Denver Nuggets, Jamal Murray looks like the old version of playoff Jamal Murray and not like what we saw in most of last year's playoffs or whatever that was in the Olympics. And of course, Jokic continues his dominance, and they get the development from the young guys that they're banking on. I've said it, I think the championship window has closed for this team, but that doesn't mean it couldn't easily stay open. They ran into the one team last year that matched up best against them in Minnesota. I'm not sure that there's another team that could have beaten them last year. Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, and Aaron Gordon is the most complementary and proven trio in the league. Michael Porter Jr. is a dead-eye shooter to keep things spaced for them. So assuming that Murray is right, that foursome is as good as there is in the NBA. You're putting that up against just about everyone, and then you're quibbling, right? They're that good. It's everything around them that has deteriorated over the past couple of years. For another title in Denver, they have to have a couple of these young guys really come through for them, which can happen. And yes, I know, I didn't mention Westbrook, and there's a reason for that. If we're talking about Russell Westbrook next year, they ain't winning a championship. Okay, those were easy. How about the Utah Jazz? Simple. Danny Ainge gets bored, particularly with this half-in, half-out rebuild, and gives Justin Zanuck the go-ahead to use every single trade asset that they've acquired to build an immediate title contender. No kicking the tires, no lowball offers, no trying to fleece other teams, just one singular objective: get win now stars to raise a banner with in Utah. For the Portland Trailblazers, the new Nike CEO declares a complete ban of any athlete endorsement deals that don't play for the hometown Portland Trailblazers. This results in the desired mass ripple effect across the league, with multiple star players demanding trades to Portland. This abruptly ends the slow rebuild and launches the Blazers to the top of the contender list. Moving to the Pacific Division with the LA Clippers. The latest Kawhi Leonard surgery is actually the work of a mad scientist. This particular mad scientist has found an unbanned miracle treatment that can allow Kawhi's legs to turn bionic, magically healing themselves and allowing him to return to his level of 2019 dominance, while the rest of the roster experiences an unexpected addition by subtraction, replacing one star with availability issues, as well as another, let's call it former star, with just a slew of role players, becomes the perfect blend of circumstances that can cure James Harden's playoff disappearances. And he didn't really mean what he said on Media Day about being Luka. For the Sacramento Kings. Who needs defense when you can just outscore everyone? The arrival of DeMar DeRozan gives them a fantastic option, especially down the stretch of games that can simply go get a bucket when they need one. He's finished second and third in the last 2 years in Clutch Player of the Year, losing one of those to his new teammate, De'Aaron Fox. And if Keegan Murray and Kevin Huerter can go back to shooting 40+% from three, they're gonna get enough spacing for the main three guys to cook. And they don't just light the beam, they raise a banner for the first time in Sacramento. The Phoenix Suns. The missing piece for the big three was always a true point guard. This makes Tyus Jones the savior of the Suns. Now that Devin Booker no longer has to split time between making a play for himself versus making a play for others, he can just concentrate on the thing that he does best: get buckets. This freedom unleashes a level of scoring efficiency we've never seen before, because the defense still has to account for a first ballot Hall of Famer in KD, as well as Bradley Beal. Jusuf Nurkic is able to give them just enough productivity down low, and they ride their scoring punch to the promised land. The LA Lakers. Time travel exists in this universe, and they hop in the DeLorean to go back and make the Miles Turner Buddy Hield trade instead of the Russell Westbrook deal. Now, does that guarantee them a title in 2024? Maybe not, but based on reports at the time, they would have at least given up a whole lot less and kept more of their championship level pieces on their roster, and a proven title-winning formula around LeBron and AD, which would likely have given them more bites at the apple in the interim and also more to work with now. But alright, fine. Let's do something a little bit more realistic. LeBron continues to be superhuman as he hits 40. AD has another healthy season while rediscovering his jump shot from the bubble so that he can shoot more threes like JJ Redick has requested. D'Angelo Russell becomes a competent defender. Austin Reeves becomes the untouchable third star that the front office already thinks that he is. Rui Hachimura continues to shoot threes at like a 42% clip, but doubles his volume from 3 to 6 a game. Dalton Knecht proves to be the 3-and-D wing they've desperately needed since they blew up a title team. Gabe Vincent actually plays, and it couldn't hurt if Bronny James comes out and wins Rookie of the Year. Oh yeah, and JJ Redick, who I mentioned earlier, proves that hiring managers should no longer require experience on resumes. I guess it's not all that realistic, but given the actions of the front office, it's really the only option. For the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors front office proves that they have had a magical vision of the future and have just conducted the greatest offseason of all time. Kuminga, Pods, and TJD take significant developmental leaps, while the veteran role players they signed are greater than the sum of their parts. Slow-mo acts as another Draymond, allowing them to always have a big defensive-minded playmaker on the floor. Buddy Hield replicates the three-point shooting that they lost in the Klay Thompson departure. And DeAnthony Melton stays healthy and gives them a 3-and-D point of attack option that they haven't really had since Klay was in his early 20s. All the while, Draymond remembers He's an NBA player, not a WWE star. And I think it goes without saying, Steph Curry has to play at an MVP level in his age 36 season. It also couldn't hurt if 2022 Andrew Wiggins showed back up either. Flying southwest to glide with the New Orleans Pelicans. Alright, that was cheesy. Zion Williamson actually means it when he says he's out for revenge. And what he means is that he's taking his diet more seriously than he ever has, and his off-season work more seriously than he ever has. He's more dedicated to his craft than he's ever been. He's the best version of himself that he's ever been, and it couldn't hurt if he was even better than that. From there, Brandon Ingram rediscovers the three-point line and where exactly it is on the floor. DeJounte Murray returns to the version of himself from his final year in San Antonio. CJ McCollum thrives, moving back into a scoring role. Trey Murphy's able to come back healthy. Herb Jones is a first-team all-defensive candidate, and they cobble together 48 competent center minutes a night. This has actually been a very exciting team for several years now, it seems. I really like the DeJounte Murray addition. Is it likely that they win a title next year? Maybe not, but it could happen. And that's what this video is all about. The Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie Irving keeps his focus on basketball, and Klay Thompson cancels his revenge tour. This allows the Mavs to continue enjoying Kyrie's just wizardry with the ball and gives them the three-point marksman they were missing in the finals last year. And he's also not washed on defense, hopefully. I've been on record saying that I am not a believer in a Klay Thompson prove-it season. I believe he should embrace his Ray Allen in Miami role for the remainder of his career. He's playing next to an MVP favorite in Luka Doncic, who happens to be one of the best playmakers in the league, both for himself and for others. Add Kyrie into the mix, and Klay will be getting more wide-open threes than he's ever seen in his career. If he can just settle into that role, it could be exactly what was missing for them last year against Boston when nobody else could hit a shot. Does he have to stand in the corner? No, of course not. They can still get him in movement, but what he needs to not be doing is trying to shoot himself into a former version of himself. If they get that and they can hold up defensively, this can all come together and make a ring in Dallas a very, very real possibility. The Houston Rockets. Alperen Şengün continues his ascension from baby Jokic to true Jokic 2.0. This comes from developing even more as an offensive hub and becoming a competent defensive player. All the young guys around him also need to take significant steps forward, while Fred VanVleet acts as the glue to all of it. And while all of this is happening, someone convinces Dillon Brooks that he is capable of being a positive impact player without negating it with unnecessary antics and immaturity. Reed Shepherd wins Rookie of the Year. Jalen Green proves that he can sustain his offensive tear that he went on to end last season, while everyone is also still trying to win games. At the end of the day, this is one of the most intriguing young teams in basketball. A title might be ahead of schedule, but they're working in phases in Houston, and I'm sure they'd be more than happy to fast forward to whatever the ring phase of their plan currently is. For the Memphis Grizzlies, Ja Morant comes back as an MVP candidate. He's going to have to do this while avoiding injury and proving that his off-court decision-making has improved. The rest of the core, who have experienced elevated roles in his absence, also get that additive effect upon his return, making their growth incremental. Marcus Smart comes back as a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and Zach Edey wins Rookie of the Year as the perfect pick-and-roll partner for their dynamic star. All of this culminates in an even stronger version of the team that we saw when they were the 2 seed, except this time, they're more than just a trash-talking young team catching the league by surprise. They're a bona fide contender, bringing Memphis its first championship. Finally, the San Antonio Spurs. Victor Wembanyama. But like, a lot. Remember when the Spurs were actually a competitive basketball team when Victor Wembanyama and Trey Jones shared the floor together? They had a 4.3 net rating last year. So this year, all they need to do is improve on that and be even better with the ultimate veteran table setter, Chris Paul, at the helm. Of course, that also means that Chris Paul has to stay healthy and be extremely productive at 39 years old. But that's not impossible. And Trey Jones has proven to be a competent point guard. So they need all of that, but they truly also need Wemby to take a pretty significant jump from one of the most impressive rookie seasons we've maybe ever seen to, like, I don't know, an undiscovered alien species of goat. Comment below who you think has the best chance of winning a title in the West this season. Before I end this video, I want to send a huge shout out to my boy, Nicholas. I heard you watch every video, and I couldn't be more stoked to have you here, dude. Seriously, thank you. For the rest of you, be cool like Nicholas, and like this video so that YouTube knows it doesn't suck, and subscribe to the channel so that I know you want me to keep making more of them. And while I am busy working my tail off making them, go ahead and watch that one.